Well, it is Tuesday morning. Just dropped the kids off at school. I was going to bring you a video last night, but, I hate doing the videos late at night because the lighting is terrible anyway, which sounds stupid, but it is. It just feels gloomy when I'm doing the videos. So I wanted to make sure I brought you guys a video this morning. The entire goal of last night, at least at Northfield, was to hopefully get a win with Jolene Hall, because she's been knocking on the door with some pretty good horses in Kentucky. Get a flat line on Emerald Tom and really get a feel of how he feels in the equipment he has on. We had changed a number of things on him. He trained good the other day, but training him and racing him are two different things. And then, of course, J.K. Maga, we'll talk about him in a minute, but just to get him raced, if any of you were at the track, I don't know if you were watching it on the post-parade, when I scored him down hard, what had happened was in the warm-up, he had lost a shoe. Now, lost a shoe, it's gone. Pretty normal shoe, though, just a normal full-sweat shoe, and I really wasn't paying attention. Blacksmith put it on, no big deal. Normally, when you put a shoe on a horse and there's just a tiny bit of shoe showing, it's not really the end of the world. But for a horse that crossfires, it can be. It can be the end of your world. So I scored him down hard. He got to the turn. He hooked one of the corners of the shoes and almost went on his pumpkin going into the first turn in the post parade. I ripped his shoe off, went back in, put the shoe on him. Now, in the mile, he was good. I guess I didn't get a real fair read. Now, there's two paths here. I guess I'll start with him. There's two paths here. There's the path where Anthony, he's just not as good as you think he is. Okay, that's no problem. The maiden usually goes in 57, 58, so we're not going to have any problems for quite a while with him if that is the path we're on. The other path is take his blood, see what's going on, because the horse that I raced last week felt like he had a lot more power than the horse I raced last night. When I moved him last night, I just thought he'd take a run at the leader, and as Kurt's picking at his horse, I just thought we'd blow right by him, to be honest. I never could buy Justin in the 2-hole. So there are two clear paths. Either he's not as good as I thought he was, which is fine. It's not the end of the world. He'll do fine in those classes. Won't go to Mohawk. The second path is, let's take a look at his blood, see what's going on with that. Let's scope. I'm not a big fan of scoping him the morning after, but the race last night was obviously too late. There was nobody there at Northfield Park, so we'll scope him this morning. Really what I'm on the lookout for. Now, I highly doubt there's any blood because he didn't bleed the other day when we trained him hard 1.5 miles. So I doubt that that's what we'll find, but maybe we'll find mucus. Could be a number of things we can find. At the end of the day, I want to make sure we do it right. There's going to be no guessing when it comes to what happened last night. If the blood comes back good and the scope is good, well, I misjudged his level of talent. There's nothing wrong with that. His level of talent last week, and even quite frankly last night, is what we paid for. I just thought we got maybe a steal and the horse was a little bit better than I thought he was when we got him. I suspect we'll find something in his blood, but I'm not gonna guess or try to extrapolate what he could or couldn't be off last night's mile. He wasn't as good as I thought he'd be last night. Now, what that means moving forward, I don't know yet. I have no idea. But neither path is a big deal. One is, he's going to be a numbers of 1, numbers of 2 horse. He's going to do us some good. The second path is, wow, that's a really nice horse, and I'm glad we picked him up. One or the other is fine with me, but most importantly is to get a pretty good clear view of which path we're actually on. Now, we talked about Rico Tubbs. He's coming back today. We're going to draw blood in the next day or so. He is going to be racing in the Standardbred in Delaware next week in Jug Week. Was admittedly a little bit flat yesterday, and much like J.K. Maga. Why? I don't subscribe to the, it's the end of the year and he's a little bit tired. Of all our babies here in Ohio, Pennsylvania area, he is as lightly raced as anybody. So no, I'm not subscribing to the he's tired at the end of the year, but we'll see. I mean, if his blood work comes back great and he doesn't race as good in the Standardbred, well, it appears I was wrong. I don't think that's the case. And I'm going to wait to fully talk about it until we get a clear view of where we're at with him. And again, blood work will tell us that. Degas was sensational yesterday. I know it was a maiden. People say, oh, it was a maiden. Well, I can tell you one thing. The horse is in there. Gorilla Sighting raced in the first Sire Stake race. Gorilla Sighting, oddly enough, is the brother to Bomb Hugger, filly that we did very, very well with a few years back, and a horse that a number of us liked going into the sale last year. He raced well. The horse on the front was favorite. We were not the favorite to run off. We were like 3 or 4 to 1. And they got, just oddly enough, a perfect trip from Dexter Dunn, and she looked very, very good yesterday. JK Victory, you know what? This is the frustrating part with this horse. To get away fourth and be our fifth and be in a position where you're in stalled cover, go back to the inside and there's a wall of horses in front of you, there's nothing you can do about that. But JK Victory, again, I like this horse better up near the front. He's done his best racing up near the front his whole life. And you can't ask somebody like Anthony Hahn or anybody, for that matter, just to jump up in behind this horse, know what you have to do and know what he's all about. You have to have him on his toes and raging coming off the car. That's just JK Victory. And, you know, whether Austin he's raced well from behind for Austin, so I can't complain, but he's going to do his best work near the front end. Now, we do have some 2-year-olds that are coming back in this week. I'm going to send over there Head to Know. A number of those horses I just think will train down better on a big track, or really just give them a fresh start and a fresh scene, and that's probably what we'll do with a number of them. They will be coming in this week, and when they do, I think we'll bring JK Victory and Greatest Ending back over. Greatest Ending, I think, actually raced pretty good, 52 and a piece first over into the last turn. He's another horse. First over is fine, you know, especially when what are you going to do? You're in a 5-horse field. But I would say not his best trip also, but the horse did race very good last night. Blue Rare, I do expect a little bit more from her. I mean, the idea that she sits in the 2-hole behind a 40 to 1 shot and can't jump all over that horse down the lane is a wee bit frustrating to me. I'm sure it is to James, but she did race good. She trotted 57, finished 3rd, and I think all these starts matter because unless there's just an abundance of 2-year-old fillies, I'm pretty sure she secured her place in. I'm pretty sure she secured her place in the grassroots semifinals. So we'll see how that plays out. And then again, I talked about JK Mega, Emerald Tom, and Jolene Hall. So not a bad day. We ended the day with a win. Our second start of the day was a win. We had a couple of winners yesterday. If I was to look at the low points and high points, Rico Tubbs, JK Mega were low points, but I want to see their blood before I start saying those horses just had to do better. I want to get a good look at that before I start, you know, casting aspersions as to what they are and what they are not. I was a little bit disappointed with both trips yesterday, but again, we'll see what comes of their blood work this week. Rico Tubbs will make his way back over here, as Cherry's Girl already has. We'll be racing those horses in the Standardbred next week. Degas was great. The only tricky part with Degas is now, what do we do with her? Right? Corbin isn't for 4 weeks, I think. So, do we just go easy with her? You know, jog her lightly, train her up a little bit. I don't think sending her to the field for, you know, a week, 10 days, 2 weeks is really going to help. I'd rather keep her on task. But again, I'll circle back with Eric and get his thoughts on Degas. We head into Corbin. All she has left is Corbin. So whatever we do between now and Corbin is going to be us focusing on Corbin. Cumberland Run, in case you guys are not familiar, it's the track in Corbin, Kentucky. The last Ohio lag of the 2025 season. JK Victory, Greatest Ending. I think we just got to get them into a softer setting. I mean, to race for, you know, 7,000 or 8,000 Canadian, which is like 5,500 American, you know, to race for that kind of money and have to go in 52, it just seems silly to me. So if we're going to go 51, 52, we're going to do it over here for 8,000 to 11,000 US, I guess, at the Meadows and here at Northfield Park. You know, what are you going to do? Well, I sent both those horses home to do a pop-up series, and they got mauled in both of them. It's just so hard, right? We talk about, it's the exact same reason I moved Patrick DePrano. Just the middle of the order is just so tough. And it's feast or famine all the time, it seems like, in those races. And as I said to people yesterday, and I'll say it again, I have very little interest in racing in those middle conditions where, you know, you have to race good only to get rewarded with your face smashed in for 2 or 3 starts where the horses can't do, just to get back in with horses that you can probably race against. I don't like racing horses like that, and we're going to try our best to get away from it. It's hard to do because even when you buy open horses, Patrick DePerano was an open pacer for 2 years, but eventually time catches up with all of us. And he just slid a little bit, and that little bit of slide moved him into a situation where he wasn't an open pacer anymore. Now he is that middle condition horse that I've been talking about and railing against, and it has nothing to do with Patrick DePerano, the horse, just our ability to race him consistently. So those 2 horses, I think, will make their way back over to the southern side of the border sooner than later. Blue Rare, rinse and repeat for now. If this is what we have, I can tell you right now, if Blue Rare is the Blue Rare that I see, and I flip-flop every week on this. You know, 2 weeks ago, I thought maybe we should put her up for sale, and then I'm like, gee, she raced good. I don't think so. Now she raced last night, where she was in a spot she probably should have won. I'm going to talk to James also about this and see what his thoughts are. But if we have a horse that clearly is a contender in the grassroots final, but we don't know what we're going to do after, again, you have 2 paths. You can sell her with the opportunity to race her in the grassroots final and then continue on Blue Rare next year, or we can keep her and race her in the grassroots final ourselves, shut her down, and bring her back. Hopefully she's a bigger, stronger filly for next year. I would probably choose the latter path right now, but we'll see if that changes over the next 2-3 weeks with Blue Rare. JK Mega and Rico Tubbs, just find out what's wrong with them and get it cleaned up. And Emerald Tom, I was happy with her. You know, I think I had Justin in a spot where he was kind of on pins and needles with Emerald Tom. I had told him we had made some fairly wholesale changes with his shoeing and equipment. Warmed him up, he warmed up okay, but knowing that he doesn't get around to half the greatest, it was more just in a very conservative manner, tell me what we have. And I was very happy that he kept the horse trotting. He thought he trotted good. Obviously, he was super conservative with him. But I thought the horse raced well. So I don't think we're going to make any changes from that performance on his equipment or his shoeing heading into Delaware. We just got to get him tight and race him. And then Jolene Hall, just super pleased with her. Very, very happy with the way she raced. Now, an odd day today. Nothing going on. It's Tuesday, and we have absolutely no horses to race. Amy and I'll be honest, I finished the Ohio catalog. I have my picks, what I want to look at, where I want to go when I get down there and see the horses on Thursday morning. And also, further to that, before I went to bed last night, I finished off day 5 of Lexington. Now, I have gone over the catalog somewhat. Lexington's a little more difficult, right? Day 1 horses, either you're there to fire at a horse, which we never are, or you're looking for horses that fall through the cracks, and they do on day 1. They absolutely do on day 1. Now, after that, it's value, value, value. Day 5, the reason I started firmly with day 5, because that was the Ohio, that I just wanted to put to bed that Ohio road that we were on. You know, we have the Ohio sale coming up. If we don't have what we want from Ohio sale, what do we have? What's available in Lexington? I don't want to get to Lexington and then be in defense mode where I have to, okay, well, here's our Lexington Grill. Okay, let's take just a few hours out of the day and go through the last day and look at Ohio. I just wanted to put that to bed right now. So I think what I'm going to do is, I think what I want to do was finish off Ohio, have a clear view of the Ohio sale, and then overlay the Ohio horses in Lexington on day 5, just to see if there was something there for us. So that's what I did last night. I finished off day 5. I'm going to go back over days 1 through 4. Again, we'll likely have those buckets for Lexington up for you right after the Ohio sale. But first and foremost, the biggest jurisdiction for us right now is Ohio, and that starts on Friday. Viewing day is on Thursday. I'll bring you guys some videos. We'll talk about the horses. A lot going on this week, but nothing going on today. I'm going to go in the barn, see what's going on. Trying to get some mats. I want to mat the whole barn. You might say, oh, just go down to the store and get them. Well, to do our whole shed row and the stalls, we're going to need about 160 mats. I see about 20 sitting outside the door. And if you've shopped for mats, 3/4 inch rubber mats at any time in your life, especially over the last 2-3 years. You know the kind of money I'm talking about. They're not cheap. So I'm looking for the best way to get these mats and then get them into the barn. I want to get the walls painted. We have the floor flattened. We have the stalls tamped down, I believe, for the most part. Everything is kind of ready to go. Just looking for the mats. So that's an issue for today. Shoring up the calendars for the fall for a lot of these stake horses. Working on getting mats in, working on renting a paint sprayer and getting some paint for the barn. Just run-of-the-mill fall stuff. So that's what's going on today. I don't know what you guys are up to today, but it should be a nice day. It's supposed to be warming up the next 2-3 days also here, which is always a welcome thing in the fall. It's a great fall morning here in Ohio. I hope it is great wherever you guys are. Oh, I didn't talk about the babies. What the hell's wrong with me? So there's 30 shares left in Dame Hanover. This is the international money filly we bought yesterday. I like the filly, and I don't want to look. The key to buying young horses in this time of year is not to look at them in their own bubble, and not to look at them at the sale, but look at them in the big picture. Step back and say, okay, we have all these sales. Is this a horse you want? And the answer for Dame Hanover is absolutely yes. I would say an above average size international money filly with a lot of black type on her in her catalog. I was very, very happy with what I saw from her. I'll just guess I can scroll over for a second. Oh, I already have her pulled up. Pedigree page is also pulled up. Good for me. I talked about this horse last night. That's why. Dornello was a very good filly in Ontario. Made $250,000 racing in stakes in Ontario. Had a 2-year mark of 57-3. I raced against her. She was a good filly. Her first offspring was Lauderdale. 450,000 made, 25 wins, and a mark of 53-1. So lots of pedigree here. You're not going to look down here and see, oh my God, look at all these killers. I see, looks like a Chippendale's mother is in the second dam. Owell's mother. Owell made $1.5 million. Fine-Tuned Lady is her name. She is a sister to Dornello, if I'm reading this properly. Feels Like Magic is in here, exported to Sweden. I know that horse. Just lots of pedigree to look at. You look at the horse's video, and she's a good-looking filly. So when I step back and look at that, the answer is yes. This is what we're looking for in the bigger scheme of things. I didn't really care about the preferred sale or what it represented for yesterday. What I cared about are the horses that we acquire right now this year. You can find value everywhere you look, but it has to make sense in the bigger scheme of things in the barn, and it certainly did with Dame Hanover. If you want, just go back and watch the video. If you go onto the sale yesterday, you can easily watch her yearling video. Just a gorgeous filly. Now, we also put Boitano up on the board. This is the Calgary Games out of the sister to Muscle Mass and Muscle Massive. I just think that was one of the more easy pickups of the season. Especially priced the way the horse was at $16,000 US. You know, when you look at that horse in any other sale, I think that's probably on the low end and definitely a buyer's price of what that horse would have went for. Now on a big, I guess Lexington would have been the place. I guess I don't know. But man, oh man, I just think good looking horse, good pedigree. That is going to be the foundation, right? You're rarely going to have a bunch of horses with no pedigree do good. So the first thing you want to look for is pedigree and confirmation on the horses. You know what we're after. We're after big, strong, athletic-looking horses. And the stronger the pedigree in the bottom, the better. Now, the stronger the pedigree usually means the higher the price. In this case, I think we got a pretty good deal on both these horses. The international money that is kind of stacked to the first dam, and then you have Boitano, the Calgary Games, which is kind of stacked through the second and third dam, which is always something we look at here at the barn also. So with that, I'm going to let you go. As I said, hope you guys are off to a good start to your day. It's 8:15 here on Tuesday morning. Have a great Tuesday. Not much to look at. We got nothing racing. But still, I'm sure if you're like me, there's lots to be done on a Tuesday with no racing on the docket. Take care, everybody.